We tank the charge move, then pivot out into Beedrill, drawing out Hypno. This used to be a loss in the one shield, however this season X-Scissor got buffed, it now does more damage. So let's find out if it's now a matchup we win. The first X-Scissor forces the final Protect shield, and the question is the second X-Scissor going to be enough to knock out? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Shadow Beedrill. This is a Pokemon that I always thought was a spicy slept-on core breaker. However this season it's more top meta. X-Scissor used to be a garbage move, 35 energy for 45 damage. Niantic, what were you thinking? This season X-Scissor got buffed. It's now 40 energy for 65 damage. It's actually a Surf clone. So that now makes X-Scissor DP, which is damage per energy, a lot more energy efficient, enabling a lot more wins in the one shield. Today's battles were submitted by my good friend and fellow content creator Nerds Rising. I'm sure you've all heard of Nerds Rising. If you haven't, he's linked in the title. Go check him out. He is without a doubt one of the most disciplined, high IQ players out there. These battles were sent to me earlier in the season, so you can see he was ranked 12 at the time, but don't worry, everyone was ranked 12 at this time. So without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we lead Dugong into Swampert, a very favourable matchup for Dugong. Nerds Rising throws 5 Ice Shards and the Icy Wind. Not only is that optimal fast move timing, it's also one before the opponent reaches the potential Earthquake. The opponent committed a Protect shield. Nerds Rising calls the bait. The opponent then switches out into Dunsparce, and Nerds Rising also looks to give Dunsparce a taste of the debuff treatment. Icy Wind lands for respectable damage, then stay in school kids. Learns a count. We catch the Rock Slide onto Whimsicott. It takes Dunsparce 4 rollouts, then freeze each of its charge moves. Both Rock Slide and Draw Run both cost 45 energy. Nerds Rising can easily tank Rock Slide. Number 2. Seed Bomb, a pretty weak move, so Nerds Rising commits to the Moonblast again for a correct time. That's 1 4 7, 2 turn versus 3 turn. Nerds Rising manages to get both Protect shields, and I've seen Nerds Rising play many times. He's going to be very happy with his 2 to no shield advantage. Whimsicott has done its job and he elects to let it go down. Dunsparce does have residual energy, so he's going to send out Dugong. And oh baby, we're using Dugong as the damage sponge, and then it's Shadow B time. In comes Beedrill, the opponent gives up switch, sending out Medicham, and you can pretty much say that's going to be all she wrote. The basic bitch fighter I like to call Meta-chan, as in basic bitch meta, and Chan throws after only 6, and Nerds Rising still isn't shielding. Trainer, this is our power up punch. Nerds Rising looking for the 2 shield flex. We're now at the back-to-back X's as the first one will be taken care of Meta-chan. Both Swampert and Dunsparce are in X's range. The opponent sends back out Swampert. It's going to be high Swampert, bye Swampert, back out. Comes Dunsparce. Can we withstand the rollouts? Who was worried? Beedrill sweeps the entire team with a very nice 2 shield flex. GG's and thanks for playing. Nerds Rising, you sir are an absolute savage. We're only 1 battle in and already you can see the new damage output of X's are coming in clutch. In the next battle, we see Azumarill in the lead, aka the mighty Blue Mouse. 2 better responses in the back. We say switch into Whimsicott, drawing out Charizard. Charizard does invest a Protect shield, perhaps fearful that we could be running Hurricane. We most certainly are not, so Nerds Rising pretty happy to gain shield advantage. The opponent getting very greedy, allowing us to make Moonblast number 2, and the opponent invests both Protect shields. Holy smoke, that is 1 aggressive farm down from the opponent, but it has cost them 2 Protect shields. Nerds Rising once again sends out Dugong as the damage sponge. Shout out to this opponent, despite being at 100 energy, they still threw the 1 wing attack for optimal fast move timing. And I think that's always the correct play, as every bit of damage does count. Nerds Rising still not shielding this time. We call the bait, the opponent then make a great catch. Well, actually not really. You've got Azumarill, which would resist the Icy Wind. Dedenne is going to take neutral. Oh my, it's Beedrill time. In comes Beedrill. We're going to be able to shield once. Poison Jab farm all the way down. Little B still has a lot of work to do. Charizard did exit just shy of a Blast Burn. Nerds Rising throws the drill on. We lose CMP. Nerds Rising gonna respect the Blast Burn. The opponent recognising they're only going to make 1 move, full send. This drill run is resisted, but Charizard made of paper. Azumarill is going to outpace. Do they have Hydro Pump? The opponent goes straight for the Ice Beam. Beedrill, not the bulkiest. Ice Beam gets us incredibly low. Nerds Rising gonna fire off the drill run again at optimal fast move timing, maximising his damage output. Drill run doesn't knock out. We then pivot out into Dugong, transferring the bubble. The opponent going to be forced to throw, and I believe that is a beautiful endgame, as Azumarill should be in 1 Poison Jab range, which they are. The Poison Jab registers before the bubble, and we take an incredibly close game. GG's and thanks for playing. Dugong into the wild's most annoying Steel Snake. The opponent likely to go 1, 2, 3, 4 breaking swipe. And of course this opponent doesn't disappoint. They spam the breaking swipe as soon as they get in. Dugong just doesn't care. It's incredibly thick Nurse and over farms. Pauses a turn, ensuring his drill run will be landed on Steelix. Even debuffed with non-stab, it does get Steelix below half health. Steelix once again spams out a breaking swipe and Dugong just doesn't care. It's incredibly bulky. Nerds Rising over farms, again fires off the drill run. Now 2 stage lower, this isn't going to knock out, but does get Steelix low. The opponent goes for breaking swipe number 3. We see the instant no shield, and I imagine we see the pivot. There is the pivot. Despite Whimsicott being a fairy and Steelix being a steel type, Whimsicott is favoured in this matchup as most Steelix run Earthquake and breaking swipes. We will resist everything. Nerds Rising doesn't go for the aggressive farm down, instead he sends out Whimsicott. Unless I'm mad, this is just a Dragon Claw. Nerds Rising agrees. The opponent fires off the Dragon Claw. Interesting. Nerds Rising. Full sends the Moonblast. Moonblast even resisted. I was going to say would do respectable damage, but again, Charizard users love to shield. This opponent now is committing to an aggressive farm down, which enables Nerds Rising to get to Moonblast number 2. And again, we see a double shield. What the heck is going on? Why are people 2-shielding Charizard against Whimsicott? Back out comes Dugong. It looks like the opponent committing to the full wing attack farm down, enabling us to land the Icy Wind and see the pivot into Beedrill. It's 2-shield B versus the Wild. We get baited with a Dragon Claw and the opponent sends out Scrafty. Nerds Rising farms up. Looks like he's going to throw the X-Scissor on the CMP side. That Charizard has so much energy. Can Beedrill survive a foul play? We really can't shield this. We see the instant no shield deployed. The opponent recognising we're unlikely to shield. Beedrill gets the full poison jab farm down on 1 HP and a dream. We're going to land the drill run and take another very close game. Well played. I've probably featured Nerds Rising 10 plus times already on the channel and he never disappoints. In the next battle, we see the Dream Lead. Shadow Golbat will not fancy this work. The Ice Shards tearing apart the bat. The bat goes straight for a Poison Fang. Dugong again shows its bulk. We then throw 1 and the Icy Wind. The opponent continues to stay and they must be ABA weak. The opponent just completely sack the lead, then send out a Hitmontop. We see the pivot into Whimsicott. And like I said previously, if this Steelix does have Breaking Swipe and Earthquake, or Breaking Swipe and Crunch, this is a miserable matchup for the opponent. Worst case scenario, this is a Psychic Fangs. The opponent goes for the double resisted Breaking Swipe. And I think the best course of action for this opponent is top left, because you're just wasting all of our time. Whimsicott fires off the Seed Bomb. The opponent going to likely spam out yet another Breaking Swipe, and Whimsicott doesn't care. The opponent actually had Psychic Fang the entirety of the time, but you can see that did pretty much nothing. Nerds Rising continuing to write really disciplined time in 1, 4 or 7. That's always the best time in 2-turn versus 3-turn. We've now got the Steel Snake into the red. The opponent can throw yet another Breaking Swipe or Psychic Fang and it will not KO. The opponent again go for the bait. We then see the pivot back into Dugong. We look to throw the Icy Wind. It looks like we actually lost CMP. We might have got 1 turn bring in. Either way, we can easily tank the Breaking Swipe, fire off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind will be securing the knockout, and then when Hitmontop does return, it'll be so sad when we show him the Beedrill. Nerds Rising, playing with his food, waiting out his timer. When in reality, a 2-shield Beedrill could just double shield and poison jab this Hitmontop all the way down. Instead, Nerds Rising sends back out Whimsicott, full sends the Moonblast. The opponent looks to call the bait, and Beedrill actually gets a well-deserved rest on the bench. GG's. Moving on to the next one. We see Dugong into Obstagoon. Not fantastic. 2 better responses in the back. This time we see the safe switch into Beedrill, and oh hello Medicham. Is this triple counter? Because if it is, Beedrill might run through the entirety of the team. We go straight for the X-Scissor. X-Scissor goes unshielded. The opponent then farm up, losing CMP. Beedrill fires off X-Scissor number 2, forcing a Protect Shield. As the opponent shielded, they might be looking to get off the Psychic. The opponent still bait us with an Ice Punch. Can we jab down before the next one? We cannot. Beedrill will survive an Ice Punch, but we're now left very low. The opponent send out Charizard, get the full wing attack farm down. We still have the correct alignment. We can just send out Dugong to face this Shadow Charizard, and Whimsicott will absolutely destroy Obstagoon. We correctly shield up the Blast Burn. Nerds Rising again pauses a turn, ensuring his Icy Wind lands on Charizard. We force the final Protect Shield. The opponent bank a boatload of energy, then pivot out into Obstagoon, looking to reset their debuff. The opponent doesn't have anything other than Night Slash or Cross Chop, as they didn't build up to potential Gunk Shot or Hyper Beam, which obviously they would build up to, as we've got no Protect Shields. The opponent has Obstruct. Let me think, Obstagoon. Do you think that defense buff will save you from the Moonblast? No sir, it will not. The opponent looking for the full wing attack farm down, hoping to blast burn Dugong, but Whimsicott says no, fires off the Moonblast, and Whimsicott is a Charizard counter confirmed. You heard it here first. Dugong into the fake Mud Boy, aka the poor man Swampert. However, at least this Toad is shiny. It's a pretty cool flex. The opponent safe switch very aggressively into a Razor Leaf user. We bank the Drill Run, slash Icy Wind and switch out into Whimsicott. Whimsicott goes straight for the Moonblast. Does the opponent respect the damage? Sadly they do, however this is not a matchup that Ludicolo will be winning in the 2 shields. Nerds Rising commits the protection on the Ice Beam, and again he still needs the Moonblast from this range. However, if the opponent shields twice, they will find themselves in Seed Bomb range. Does the opponent want to go down 2 shields? They do not. Ludicolo gets vanquished back to their Pokeball. It looks like the opponent running a fast move pressure backline. They've got a Shadow Gardevoir in the back. The next Moonblast forces the final protection. In comes Beedrill. The opponent looks to go for that wham bam combo play. Nerds Rising says, I'll take the Big Mac, but you hold the fries. We catch the Weather Ball onto Dugong. That does absolutely nothing, and Nerds Rising returns fire with the Drill Run, which doesn't do too much damage as Toad is pretty thick. The opponent doesn't even bait an Earthquake. I imagine as they're shiny, they've probably got this on Com Day, and they've probably got Legacy Ice Beam. Nerds Rising tanks the next Weather Ball, returns fire, with the next Drill Run getting Toad deep into the red. Weather Ball still not going to get the job done. Dugong continues to shrug off the damage. The opponent is going to be forced to throw once again. They actually pivot out into Gardevoir. It's going to be high Gardevoir by Gardevoir. Icy Wind does secure the knockout. We send out Beedrill. We get the Poison Jab farm down and take that game. In the next battle, we see the battle of the ice types. This is a pretty interesting matchup. Dugong double resist the Powder Stones, however the Energy Ball does huge damage. Whereas Abomasnow, due to the Ice Grass type and taking neutral the entirety of the time from our Ice type damage, the opponent full sends the Energy Ball. Big bad thick Dugong took a lot of super effective damage. Nerds Rising, undeterred, fires off the Icy Wind, getting that debuff, the opponent recognising. Weather Ball won't get the job done, commit to the Energy Ball, so Nerds Rising goes straight for the Icy Wind, winning the 0 shield. Out comes Surfetch for the instant pivot into Whimsicott, drawing out Knocked Out, and saving that Dugong is absolutely clutched. Whimsicott lands the Moonblast, and that is pretty much going to seal the opponent's fate. There's no need to shield up Whimsicott. The opponent is now Energy Drive. We can send in Dugong, get off as much Ice Shard damage as physically possible, force the opponent to throw, and then just tap, tap, tap all the way, and Beedrill will be able to Poison Jab farm down everything. The matchup is playing out exactly as I've already said. It's like I can see the future. Not really, but it's pretty obvious. In comes Beedrill. Beedrill does get the full Poison Jab farm down. Back out comes Surfetch. Win con for the opponent is probably the world's luckiest boost, or Nerds Rising having a heart attack. The opponent throws the Leaf Blade, so there's no chance of any boost. Come on, Nerds Rising, flex. Are they trying to 5-hit us? Nerds Rising respects the Night Slash, but evidently the opponent's probably got Brave Bird, and we Poison Jab farm down everything and take that game. Keeping things moving quickly, we see the battle of the Ice types. Froslass into Dugong, a pretty neutral matchup. The opponent actually throwing alignment, so this has to be an Avalanche, right? Apparently not. This opponent's running Crunch. Even if you're running Crunch, still throw at good time in 1, 4 or 7. Crunch did get the debuff, which is pretty favourable for the opponent. You can see a non-stab Crunch, even after the debuff, isn't going to be enough to knock out. So again, the tanky Dugong looks like it easily wins in the 0 shield. Nerds Rising throws at the correct timing. The opponent completely sacked Froslass, and again we see the pivot. We send out Whimsicott to meet Medicham, and the opponent has the big nipple looking thing known as Toxapex. Is it a nipple? Is it a cupcake? I'll be honest, whenever I see it, especially from above, it looks like a fucking nipple. But on a more serious note, I think Nerds Rising's in huge trouble. The opponent tanks 2 Seed Bombs like an absolute boss. They've still got half the health, and they've got a huge energy lead. We send back out Dugong. Dugong is so incredibly low. Even a Brian will take us out. Hopefully we survive. Fuck, we don't. Beedrill has carried the team to victory many times already in this video. However, this looks pretty tough. We tank the Brian. Nerds Rising farms up. Looks to throw the Drill Run on the CMP tie. Energy management absolutely on point. Drill Run does secure the knockout, but look how low we are. I think Medicham could just counter us all the way down. The opponent opting to throw a charge move. I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think straight counter would be more favourable. However, Nerds Rising won't make 3 moves, and unfortunately we are going to take a loss. Nerds Rising this time himself playing out the heart attack win con, or perhaps the opponent having a seizure and missing the shield button. The opponent evidently aren't looking to have any heart attack anytime soon. We throw the next X-Scissor again, the opponent correctly shields, and we take our first loss. Boo. Moving on to the next one. Tough lead, Dugong into the cheeky little monkey Vigoroth, the king of the theme cup. We save switch into Whimsicott and the opponent stays in, likely going to chip and dip with the body slam. The opponent does go for the chip and dip, and they send out their own Fairy Wind user. Nerds Rising full sends the Moonblast. Moonblast draws a Protect Shield, and it's CMP. Let's go. Meteor Mash easily going to be enough to knock out. The opponent goes to the undercharge, and that is going to mean the opponent is going to eat a Seed Bomb. This is best case for Nerds Rising. We get Clefable down to around half health. Nerds Rising waits out his clock, sends in Dugong. Dugong is going to get outpaced. Dugong, we've seen incredibly thick. We tank the Meteor Mash, see the aggressive pivot into Beedrill. Beedrill looks for the farm down. The opponent sends out Hypno, the confusions, tearing us apart. However, X-Scissor has been buffed. Beedrill fires off X-Scissor number 1, forcing a Protect Shield. Nerds Rising then farms up, throws the next X-Scissor, but is X-Scissor going to be enough to knock out? Yes, it is. The X-Scissor buff coming in absolutely clutch. Back out comes Clefable. We simul KO. It's now Vigoroth versus Dugong. We have 2 Protect Shields remaining. So the opponent's going to have to counter farm us all the way down. We fire off the Icy Wind, lowering the counter damage. Nerds Rising now throws the Drill Run. If you're wondering why, despite us not getting same type attack bonus, Drill Run does do more damage, and Nerds Rising pulls off yet another dub with a very nice 2 shield flex. GG's and thanks for playing. Dugong into my favourite fat boy Snorlax. Snorlax actually pretty good in the Great League. I don't really see anyone use it. I've had pretty good success running Shadow Snorlax myself. The opponent throws the body slam. We then see the pivot into Whimsicott. Snorlax still looks pretty thick even in the Great League and very annoying. The opponent fires off the body slam and ouch, that hurt. Nerds Rising now over farms. Full sends the Moonblast. Is the opponent going to invest the protection on their Snorlax? No, they're not. Snorlax even survives that and makes yet another body slam. Snorlax absolutely going off. Nerds Rising elects to shield once. Fairy Wind farm all the way down. The opponent then send out the Bear Trap. We fire off the Seed Bomb and the opponent commits a Protect Shield. I'll be honest, Stunfisk, why are you shielding Seed Bomb? A pretty trash move. Nerds Rising throw Seed Bomb number 2, and in case the opponent needed a reminder of just how bad Seed Bomb is, that didn't do too much. Opponent a pretty poor shield in my humble opinion. We now send out Dugong. The opponent then make a very nice catch, catching the Drill Run onto Gardevoir, but Gardevoir's about to get shredded. Look at the damage. Hi Gardevoir, bye Gardevoir. Beedrill Poison Jab farms all the way down. Nerds Rising again throws the Drill Run on the CMP type, and Little B completes yet another very impressive sweep. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle. We see Dugong into Medicham, 2 better responses in the back. Nerds Rising looks to pivot into Beedrill, however we actually throw an Ice Shard first. Nerds Rising gonna respect the Ice Punch, perhaps thinking they might not have a great response. The opponent sends out Licky Licky. I don't really see Licky Licky too much in the Great League. Obviously, Licky Tongue is objectively better. It's got a lot more bulk. You can see there that X-Scissor did ridiculous damage. Beedrill tanks the body slam. Beedrill able to make the second X-Scissor. Is the opponent going to fight for switch? No, they're not. They give up switch, and that is a huge mistake from the opponent. Back out comes Medicham. However, the opponent did dump their energy. We can now realign, sending out Whimsicott. Ice Punch won't do too much to Whimsicott, probably around 40%. You can see it is super effective. We easily tank one. Nerds Rising farms up, looking to get off the back-to-back Seed Bombs. The first Seed Bomb goes unshielded, then look to snipe with Dugong. The snipe is unsuccessful. We do catch the next Ice Punch. A non-stab Ice Punch probably did about the same damage as one single counter. The opponent stays in, allow us to Ice Shard, farm them down, and then send out Toxapeck. Nerds Rising goes for the bait. The opponent shits their pants, shielding up a resisted Icy Wind. Nerds Rising, evidently the best masturbator in the world this time. He sends the Drill Run. The opponent does double shield. Nerds Rising still with 1 Protect Shield remaining. Invests it here. The opponent says, "You, sir, are not the only masturbator. I also spend a lot of time masturbating." We get baited. Nerds Rising now throws the Icy Wind, hoping this allows him to survive a Sludge Wave. Come on, Dugong. Please survive. We do survive on a sliver of HP. We make the drill run. Whimsicott has the seed bomb bank, so get ready for it. It's going to be the wham bam combo play, and Nerds Rising serves up that Big Mac and the fries. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we lead Dugong into yet another Medicham. Yikes. Nerds Rising pivots instantly into Beedrill, drawing out Steelix. Nerds Rising actually allows the opponent to throw first. I think if I was Nerds Rising, I would have actually looked to throw the drill on before the opponent debuffed me. However, Nerds Rising has a better IQ than me. He always reaches Legend a lot earlier than me. I'll be honest, I just scrape it in the final weeks. However, getting back into the commentary, Nerds Rising able to make drill run. Number 2, getting Steelix down. Into the red, the opponent Dragon Tail farms us all the way down. I imagine we just send out Dugong. Look to Ice Shard farm all the way down. The opponent can literally throw whatever they like. The opponent goes for the break-in swipe. Even Shadow does absolutely nothing. The opponent aggressively sends back out Medicham, and here comes Whimsicott. We've already seen a non-stab Ice Punch doesn't do too much. You can see from full health, it does around 45%. As even after a counter, we were still in the green. Nerds Rising gets baited this time with a power-up punch. However, undeterred, he's full sending the Moonblast as the opponent. Respect the damage. Yes, they do. But Nerds Rising going to be able to outpace the Moonblast. Number 2, and this will be lethal. Medicham get absolutely wrecked. If the opponent sends back out Steelix, which they do, the Dragon Tails are double resisted despite Whimsicott being in the red. We withstand the Dragon Tails, fire off the Seed Bomb, securing the knockout. And the opponent had Crobat in the back. Trainer, why didn't you farm down Whimsicott to get ahead in energy? I have no words. We land the Icy Wind, lowering Crobat's attack. We then get the Ice Shard farm down. I think if the opponent actually sent out Crobat, they could have probably had a better chance of winning that game. However, it is what it is. Moving on to the next one. Dugong into a Fire Spin Charizard. The opponent safe switch into a Bubble Jelly, and here comes Whimsicott. The opponent has enough for an Ice Beam. It's just a Shadow Ball. Well, I say just a Shadow Ball that actually did quite a lot of damage. However, Nerds Rising undeterred. Throw in at disciplined timing 4 Fairy Winds and the Seed Bomb. Then 1 further Fairy Wind and the next Seed Bomb. Nerds Rising such a well-disciplined player. We maintain alignment, back out comes Charizard. However, Whimsicott still not done. Fires off the double resisted Seed Bomb. And even the glassy Charizard tanks that like an absolute boss. The opponent then make a very nice catching the Icy Wind onto Shiftry, but Shiftry, you sir, are in for a very rough time of it. Beedrill are going to be absolutely dead weight against the Charizard, so we don't shield up the foul play. To be honest, it didn't do that much after the debuff. Back out comes Charizard, and Charizard is going to be forced to start shielding these drill runs. It is single resisted, but would probably knock out with the Poison Jab. Back out comes 2 shield Dugong. We're going to call the bait. The opponent actually send the Fire Blast. Holy shit. Dugong's bulk just about hangs on. We reach the Icy Wind and just about manage to 2 shield flex and take that game. Huge shout out to Nerds Rising for a very fun, very high gameplay IQ battle submission. Like I've said throughout the video, he's a fellow content creator. Make sure you go check him out. He's linked in the title. And if you're looking for a really fun, very, very strong, powerful pick, get yourself a Shadow Beedrill, because I think this thing is phenomenal. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, link to battle submission form is down below. My Discord is also linked down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.